the main reason we are here is because we got Violetta Zironi here in Timișoara, and she will perform tomorrow at the Polytechnica event. But having her in town, we thought it would be good to actually understand how she managed to use technology to actually build her audience. But before that, I'm going to actually just discuss about, just throw on the floor this idea of technology and the fact that some of you were wondering, what's the QR code about and, so much about this technology. So, yeah, I think and by the way, my name is Val Mureșan, and I happen to know many of you, but yeah, I'm wearing many hats. I'm also probably one of your hosts, and yeah, it's thanks for coming along at Faber. So yeah, I deal with a lot of stuff, but one of the things I work on with a few good friends here. Some of the things I can tell, some not. But yeah, some of the friends here, we have established a institute. It's called ABQ. It stands for AI, blockchain, and quantum computing. And I happen to actually be one of the founders, and the idea there is that we want to look at advanced technologies and see how things will change our life in the next, let's say, a horizon of 10 years, and with the view that basically, hopefully, that's looking at that vision, we can decipher what's going to look like, and hopefully change the way we or understand the way we will change our behavior and things around us, and our community. So ABQ Institute, that's the maybe the excuse that brought us Violetta here, and that's one of the aspects we want to look at. We have artists here, musicians using technology. I rather say fancy technology in order to actually build audiences and make a good business model out of it. So I think that's yeah, that's something interesting that we want to find out tonight. But before we do that, I think it's good to know each other. So I'm going to ask, how many here are musicians, apart from Violetta and Theo? Four people. Good. How many of you are IT people? Okay.
That's usually the ratio.
Yeah, that's the that's how we're going to become extinct. Yeah. The the how many of you know what blockchain is? Oh. NFT. How many use blockchain? How many have cryptocurrencies here? How many are you millionaires here? Okay, so it's good that we sort of mapped our audience. So before we actually start this interesting conversation here between art, music, and technology, we'll ask Violetta to actually tell us her story, how she actually managed to be, let's say, the successful musician with this technology, and what's so magic about using technology to build audience, and tell us the whole story, how you started, how you get on, how you use technology, how much do you know about technology, do you understand it, are you curious to understand it or not, or you just use it? So tell us your full story. You have at least 20 minutes to tell us, maybe more if it's interesting. If it's not, we'll cut it short. Okay, so go ahead.
Should I use the microphone? Or?
Yeah, because we record, okay. This guy here he has come for a reason, so
all right. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, first of all, for having me. I'm very excited to be here. I want to thank right away Johan, Free Flight, Alina for bringing me here because otherwise I wouldn't be here. In some weird ways, I am here because of the blockchain. So that's the one thing I would like to put forward right away. If it wasn't for what I did through NFTs and the blockchain as a musician, I wouldn't even have come to Romania for the first time, right? So that's already pretty a big deal for me. The fact that I can play at a gala tomorrow in front of a bunch of people that I don't know, right? That could be new people in my community, thanks to the blockchain, is pretty big. But I guess I'll start from the beginning and then give you some background about who I am and then how I got here, pretty much. So we'll try to make it fast. It's long. I'm 29 years old, but I did a lot of things in the past 11 years, so I'm really, really tired. So forgive me if I stumble upon my words sometimes. So, like I said, my name is Violetta Zironi. I'm from Italy. Sono italiana. Buonasera a tutti. I'm from a town near Bologna, right? So small city, smaller than Timisoara, where no one speaks English, as opposed to Timisoara, where everyone speaks English. So I'm also impressed that this is an English panel in front of a bunch of Romanians. Like, come on, that could never happen where I'm from. So that I know that doesn't seem important, but it is, right? Because that explains how backwards they are over in Italy. Seriously, I'm actually really impressed about having such a crowd, so good job. So yeah, I grew up in that small town, played music since I was 5, and in my teenage years started performing shows around, the town, very low key. And then at the age of 18, I applied to go to X Factor. Everyone familiar? Yes. In Italy. I applied, got through to every round, got in, got to the final all of a sudden, and I was still in school, 18 years old, got to the final and was really successful with it and was offered right away. I was still in high school, a major label deal with Sony Music. And I don't care about naming them. They deserve to be called out, right? So it was Sony Music who literally almost illegally got me to sign an agreement, what they call a 360 deal, right? Musicians in the room probably know what that means. It means they take a percentage off of every single thing you do, from your publishing, live performances, acting jobs, master royalties, everything. 30% to 60%. For my masters, as in the recordings of my songs, I was left with 5%. 5%, right? Songs that I wrote and that I recorded with no advance of money at first. And I was 18, ignorant, stupid. I didn't know what I was doing. I just wanted to be a musician, so I signed it, right? Didn't even ask my parents because I was 18. So I didn't have to, right? Anyway, I quickly realized what I'd done. It was a really big mistake. And I was stuck in that deal for 2 years. I'm sorry, I'm recording everything here. So this is also part of like being an artist who uses the blockchain. You have to record everything, put it on the blockchain so it doesn't disappear because we don't trust iCloud. No. Anyway. So I realized the mistake that I'd made. I was in that deal for 2 years and then managed to get out of it. And since then, I've been acting independently, or what I thought was independently, right? Which means I'm not signed with a major label or with any record label. I have a manager. I signed a publishing deal with the publishing company BMG when I was 24, and I moved to Berlin and I started touring Europe, and it started getting serious. But when COVID came, which we all know the impact that it had on everybody, I realized that my only, if at times I had some money, it's because I was performing, right, as a musician. And I was doing movies, like acting in movies. I did a couple of those as well. But it was all things that I could do in person, right? Like show up. Sorry, I think my GoPro is like not liking something. I don't know. I had to show up and like actively participate in something. But the thing that I was really working for, my product, right? If you think as a business, my product, which was my songs, were not generating any income whatsoever because I had to upload them on Spotify. I'm sorry, Johan, I'm going to have to talk about this. It's like my favorite topic is Spotify. And on Spotify, musicians know they get paid 0.003 cents per stream, right? So in order to make a living, you need to be Taylor Swift, quite literally, and have that amount of streams. And I realized during COVID, because obviously I couldn't go out and perform anymore. I was very jaded. I was 26 years old, and I'd been around the block since I was 18, right? I did a lot of stuff, and I was like, you know what? Like, I'm really tired. Maybe this is not for me. It's not working out. I'm not on TikTok. I hate doing TikTok dances. Why did my parents buy me a piano when I was 5? So that I could do TikTok dances? Like, really? Is that what it's all about? So I was on the edge of quitting, really. But I decided to give myself one more chance. Like, I gave myself one more year, and I said, I'm going to put everything I have into this, make another album, and find a way. And if I don't find a way in a year from now, I'm going to university, right? Because I never studied anything. I was working since I was young. And then, as I was not finding anything and time was ticking, I went home for Christmas, and my mom, shout out, Annalisa, my mom. She's 60 years old. She's like, hey, are you sure you want to quit? I'm like, yeah, I think so. Oh, did you hear that Snoop Dogg is doing NFTs with his music? And I didn't know what NFTs were. I didn't know what the blockchain was. My mom knew, which is not usually the case. Like, usually it's the kids telling their parents this kind of technological things. In that case, my mom is the real genius, right?
What's the background of your mom?
Huh?
What's the background of your mom? Is she in
My mom
technology?
works for the town, for the government of the city. She's in the environmental department, but she's just like really hungry for information and very up to date, very open minded. And she always challenged me, And that one time she was like, here's a challenge. And I immediately was like, no, this is not, how is that possible? And that's what she does to get me to do stuff. She says, oh, so you don't really want it, do you? So you don't really want to be a musician? Because if you did, you would try this too. And that's when I was like, okay, all right, let's try. And I did. Immediately I started researching. And what I realized, I didn't understand it. To answer your question, I had an iPhone 6. Okay, I had a MacBook Air from like 2015. So trying to get into the metaverse was like my laptop is like hyperventilating. Like, I was not a tech person. I did not know anything about technology. Like, really, I was an artist. Like, and if you're coming tomorrow, you'll hear my music. I'm a singer songwriter who sits in a room and plays guitar. Like, I don't even know how to mix my own songs. Like, that's how little techie I am. But I thought, my mom will be really disappointed if I don't try this. So I will. And so I started researching really, and I just Googled stuff like, what is an NFT? But right away, the second question came to my mind was like, how do I sell an NFT, right? Because that's the tricky part. Like, it's a product, So that's when I think my brain switched from I'm an artist and I don't have to sell my stuff because it's on Spotify and it's their job to sell my stuff, right? This is a discovery platform. It's their job. I just need to write the song to, no, I'm creating an NFT that I own, right? It's mine. So it's my responsibility what to do with it, right? All of a sudden, this is my product and I'm in control. So that was the second thing I Googled. And so I think that's a big part of my story, right? I started thinking of myself not just as an artist who delivers art to either a record label or a platform, but I started thinking of myself as a like direct to consumer, like small business, right? Where I am the business owner and I'm in charge of everything concerning the product. So I started immediately creating music NFTs, which some of you may wonder, what is it? It's like a regular NFTs. I'm sure you've seen the monkey pictures, right? The monkey JPEGs and the crypto punks and all those. So instead of a monkey, you put a song on it, literally an MP4, right? That you click play and you hear the song like an album cover on Spotify. As simple as that. At least that's what I did. There's many shades, many things you could do, but that's what I did. Really simple. Like I said, I'm not techie. You know what I mean? So yeah, I started creating those and hanging around on Twitter, now X, which is where the crypto community hangs out. And I had fans from the traditional world. I have like 200,000 followers across all the platforms. But I didn't bother thinking, oh, I'm going to try and convert my old fans to this new technology that I barely understand. It's going to be a lost cause. Like, it's impossible, right? Until I really understand it, or until I find a way. So I decided to target the crypto users, really. So that's an important part as well. I didn't try and onboard my grandma. You know what I mean? I just went to crypto people who were familiar. And what I noticed was there isn't much music going on here in Web3 and crypto and NFTs. There's some art, but music is still kind of at the beginning. But these people surely like music. Everyone likes music. Why not? So I really started selling my NFTs door to door, pretty much, on Twitter, like DMing people, performing, posting videos, doing Twitter spaces, live streams where I perform. So really, really organically, in the space of like a couple of months, I'd sold over 2,500 music NFTs, right? Which are like digital records. That's all it is, really, like a digital vinyl, and forming a community around it. I almost created a gamification system. I know it's kind of a weird word, but it just means you have perks like on Patreon or like crowdfunding, right? Where you pay more and you unlock certain perks and utilities and rewards. So that's kind of how I treated my NFT collections, to the point where some people could collect as many to get me to play a free concert on a boat in the Bahamas, right? Which is what happened last year. So the way I structured it is like, you own one of my NFTs, every week I do a Zoom concert for you and the rest of the community every single week for the last 3 years. Yes. Now I'm traveling, so I'm not doing it. But when I'm home, you can ask the guys in the audience. They tune in. So every single week, I do a virtual concert for my community. If you have certain NFTs, you can come to my shows for free for the rest of your life. If you have other NFTs, you get my vinyl for free for the rest of your life, right? So lifetime membership, access to me, right? Because I believe what this technology enables is direct connection to whatever it is, right? And you can verify that you own that asset, so you have the undeniable right to get whatever the reward is, whatever comes with that asset. In this case, it's me, right? So since then, I dropped another collection, and by collection, I mean a collection of songs. So like an EP, right? 5-song album, 5-song EP with 2,500 copies, 500 copies per song, and different visuals for every NFT. And people just keep collecting. Since then, I sold almost 10,000 music NFTs, and I have 1,400, 1,500 people, 1,400 people around the world. 3 of them are in Timisoara, and that's why I'm here today. For real, I mean it. And I'm getting to travel the world and tour thanks to the community that I built through NFTs. I was just in Singapore. I just literally came in from Singapore. And the week before, I was in Split in Croatia. And before, I was in Dubai. And before, I was in Minneapolis, then LA. Next, I'm going to Amsterdam, then London, right? And because there are people around the world that are connected to me somehow, that are basically in a decentralized way, they're helping me grow as an artist. And in return, I try to bring as much value as possible to them, right? They call me up to come to Timisoara. Hell yeah, I'll go. You guys are my people. You know what I mean? So that way, you're basically eliminating every single middleman, every single gatekeeper. Nobody can tell me that I cannot be here today. You know, nobody can tell me how expensive one of my songs should be. You know what I mean? Like, I will decide if I want to sell one song for one Bitcoin, 63,000 US dollars, I will. And if I can find someone who buys it, then I won. You know what I mean? But there's nobody who can tell me that I cannot. And that's what you can't do on Spotify. Once again, I'm going to mention, but that's my like arch nemesis is Spotify, because what they do is created a monopoly. They centralized music, they productized it, commercialized it in a way where it doesn't matter if you're Beyonce or if you're me, you are the same. It's like communism times 100, right? But like for music. And it doesn't matter who you are, what you've done, what your fans think of you, you are all the same. You're not entitled to know who's listening to your songs. You're not entitled to know how long they're listening for or why they like you. They want to hide all that from you. That's not right, right? Because this is my art. I need to know who appreciates it. And so that's what the blockchain has enabled me to do, to tour and travel and have relationships one-on-one and get value from people that appreciate what I do, and hopefully I bring value back to them. And so, to give you a very practical example, and then I'll try to cut it short because I could go on forever. Last year, the two guys sitting here at the front, Free Fly and Johan, who have been part of my community for a long time, they purchased my music NFTs last year. They had the idea to organize a concert here at the Philharmonic in Timisoara with a few artists that they met within the Web3 space. It didn't work out at that time for a series of reasons, but it will, I'm confident. It didn't work out, but through that, they introduced my music and me as an artist to a woman who works in marketing here in Timisoara, who got to know me through them. 6 months later, this woman calls him up and says, "Hey, that artist Violetta, is she like around? Because I would like to invite her to play at the gala tomorrow at the Polytechnica," right? So here I am. And I would have never been here if it wasn't for these guys, right? So, yeah, it changed my life. I've not released any music on streaming platforms since I started this. So 3 years ago, my life changed. I met so many people. I've become a better artist because I'm free, liberated of all the pre-concepts. Like, your chorus needs to come in 30 seconds, otherwise the algorithm won't pick it up. Like, come on, I'm an artist. You know, you can't say that kind of thing to an artist. So I think I've become a better artist through this. I think I can stop now.
So just to summarize, so in terms of numbers, you had a traditional, let's say, audience. You mentioned 200,000, and now you have how many?
1,400 NFT holders.
And I take it you focus more on these latter guys than the traditional one.
Yeah.
Traditional one is routed through Spotify, pretty much, or
A mix of things, you know. I played so many shows, but I don't know who the Spotify listeners are, so I have no way to reach them.
okay. And your main revenue and focus is actually NFT guys.
Yes.
Okay, cool. And I was going to ask you, do you have a manager?
No.
No. Okay, so now a techie question like, what's your ERP and CRM solutions?
I don't know what those words mean. Like, I really don't. What is it?
So, what software do you use to actually manage all this?
The human software? The
Okay,
brain?
so but like, how do you handle NFT? For example, I don't use NFT, so how do you handle them? How do you sell them? Where do you sort of advertise them? How can people reach out to you?
Oh, very simple, really. I don't use any software. Like I said, I'm not a very technical person. I learned technology. I know quite a lot about like blockchain theory and smart contracts and Bitcoin, and I know quite a lot of it. But I don't know anything else really. So what I do is just very organically. Like, I do everything, you know, I open Twitter, I post pictures every
That's all.
day. Yeah, I do. I travel a lot, you know, so I do a lot of in-person interactions. Um, but really, I use social media.
And you don't need anything else to handle all this business.
I
pretty
would
much.
need an assistant, but as long as I can bootstrap and do it myself, I will.
Cool. I'm impressed. Like, usually you have a whole lot of overhead and organization behind a business to deliver the product, whereas you actually can handle it yourself.
But here's the thing, like the product is not, it's easy to sell when you think about it. The industry makes it very complicated, right? They build all these structures on top of like an artist. You need a marketing team, a PR team, a product manager, this or that. No, like we're talking about songs. We're talking about music. It's so easy for me to hop on a stage and play a song and tell my story and chat with you for 5 minutes. I'm going to spark your interest, you know? It's something that people need. People need music. And when you are selling it, quote unquote, like a real thing, like an active thing, like there's a person behind it. It's not something you hear in a cafe, like forget about. It's actually easier than one would think. Oh yes, I am super tired. You know, I work a lot, but I like it.
I'm that. I mean, the fact that it's so lean and mean for you to actually operate alone, it's amazing. Like, you know, usually I think a singer usually has people behind, and, you know, kind of as you mentioned, PR and managers and kind of a whole bunch of marketing and so on. But you can actually drive this basically pretty much alone, and that's amazing.
Thank you. But think about it, right? Like so many startups in general, like regular startups fail because they spend too much money on a team they don't really need. Like one 20-year-old guy could do the whole thing, and then they spend millions on the marketing team. You know, like they start marketing something before they even have the product,
Well, yeah.
and they fail.
Tell us
So,
who's in the room.
so I'm thinking, how can I just bootstrap, you know?
Great, great. Okay, so I think we are turning into the second part of our conversation, where basically we are going to expand a bit the conversation here amongst us. We have other guys and persons who are basically relevant to this whole as I mentioned, melange of technology and music. So we got here. Do you want still a break, or we can carry on? Um, at some point you mentioned that maybe we should take a break, or no? Do you feel like we should take any break, or, you know, have a beverage or something? No. Okay, cool. We carry on. So I'm going to introduce now the people in this let's say round table. We have Alexandra, who's the techie person here with the arts background, I understand.
Sorry. Yes. So I am not. I work in tech. I work with the techie people.
Okay.
But I am a project manager for QED and for the Sandbox, and I work with them to create a metaverse. We work a lot in Web3, and we are basically a team in Timisoara working for the Sandbox to create a metaverse and to create possibilities for artists, digital artists, to take their craft into the metaverse, take their craft online.
Okay, then we got Theo. If you pass on the microphone. So Theo is the only guy here with two hats.
Yeah, the hybrid, right? Yeah, so I'm also a tech guy, but I'm also a musician. So we will have some, I think, some interesting debates, especially in between where the tech meets the music and where the tech maybe should stop and where the art actually should continue.
Sure. Okay. So, and then we got Dudu. Tell us about your connection to this roundtable. Like, where's the music coming from? And
the
what
least connection to the round table, but I'm an architect and urbanist, but here I am as a DJ and the head of an organization that's almost 30 years old now in Timisoara. I still play vinyl, but not only. So I'm really interested about the discussion later.
Okay, cool. So, look, the way I see things, like the two of us are probably born before smartphones, for sure. Yeah.
I want to say that I'm the oldest, but
Anyway, so I remember when I was using the coins to make a phone call, you know, to my mom to tell her that I'm not coming home tonight.
yeah, actually, I was thinking about when Violeta told us about this, what she is doing and NFTs. What was the same thing before? because you are creating some unique products that your fans can collect and have. So, for instance, 30 years ago, there was dubplates. There was some vinyl that were just one press. Just one piece of the kind, and only one DJ has to get it. So I think it's a very nice parallel between those two words. I think it's the same. So history is repeating itself, not the same, not in the same shape, but it's still the same. And yeah, but in a different way. Now we have internet.
But now that you have the microphone, tell us how you sold tickets 30 years ago.
With by hand
Okay.
at the door. So
So black NFTs, is it?
yeah, or not even tickets, or yeah, totally analogical. Yeah. It's still the same today. So also today you have web ticketing and you have everything what you want. So, but there's still some people who are paying cash all the time. I don't know why, but I don't have cash for a long time now. But there are.
Do you take bitcoins?
I was never asked for this, but yeah, why not? So, for instance, there is an maybe it's something in the context of Timisoara. So you have, yeah, everybody speaking English, but it's still a very provincial city. So now you can pay with telephone, and now you can pay with QR codes, so now you can pay with bank on your telephone. So it's much more easy. But yeah, I don't.
Okay.
It's not the main thing.
Cool. Violeta, would you be able to operate without mobile phones if people here didn't have any mobile phone, or can you reach out? I'm just wondering. Is the mobile phone actually let's say, the glue between audiences here, be it like a traditional or NFT based?
Yes, definitely. Well, I don't know about the mobile. Does that include like computer?
No mobile. I'd
Oh,
say.
mobile. Okay, no. Actually, it would be okay without. Like as long as you have a computer, electricity
At home.
at home. Yeah.
It's like me calling my mom 30 years ago with the coins, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would actually be a little easier, so you don't have to like go so fast all the time. Maybe
Okay.
there's like a little break every now and then.
Cool. Theo, a question for you. How do you feel like being between, people who made history in terms of music kind of events here in Timisoara and people who actually travel all around the world and
I feel like I should go home. No, I'm kidding. I was thinking especially about what Violeta was saying about products, because I don't want to discourage you guys. That's not the point. But because Val said some really good question. By the way, anybody knows, what's a CRM and ERP? Who knows what's a CRM and ERP? Okay. So in the end, what Violeta is doing, she's doing naturally a product management. That's the truth. Because in the end, I know it sounds not nice, but also in art, you have a little bit business in the background. So it's not just about putting your music up there and having an NFT and you have money in your wallet. It's not happening like that. It's about the community, first of all, what you have around you. And Violeta told you about it. She started from a 200K community and, of course, targeted then the crypto owners, right? So targeting is marketing in the end. And after that, you need a differentiator, which is your product. And this differentiator actually helps you to be something on the market. And this is how this goes. So it's not just about, uploading something there and kaching, you will have, I'd wish it would be like that, but it's not. And we don't do, for example, with Jazzybit, we don't do NFTs, we don't do blockchain. I do blockchain in IT, but that's a different story. But not that much as Violeta here. that doesn't mean we will not do it in the future. But I think what's important to notice is it's the differentiator. We say it in Romanian, diferențiator. So you need to have something which is unique. If you need to have something which is different or in a different way, and this is what you need to market there. Why I'm saying this is because I believe that in music, what helps you go further is to have this entrepreneurship mindset. So your music, your art is a product. You need to know how to market it. You need to know how to put it out there for the people to let's say feel it as valuable for themselves. Somehow this is what we try to do with Jazzybit as well, but not necessarily using NFTs and blockchain. But I learned this part from the tech part, from from working in corporations and in different companies, and this helped me actually to have this entrepreneurship mindset and to understand my product or my music in a different way, not just look at it from the art perspective, but also look at it from, let's say, a revenue perspective.
Okay, cool. Now, future Alexandra, tell us what are these two guys, these gentlemen, missing in terms of technology to kind of make their products more or musical act more interesting and reach out to many more people.
So I think that one of the things that the pandemic brought forward that we never expected is all this VR stuff to, you know, it boomed and people started to go online a lot and people started to use the internet and started to use all these platforms and social media to bring their art out there, to bring their music out there. And it started with live streaming, right? So that was step number one. But then technology advances and advances. And of course, as the guys know who are working towards this in our metaverse know that the future to music will become probably digital concerts, right? Metaverses who will host digital concerts, so who will host artists to come through to an audience, a global audience from all over the world that can gather in one space and don't have to go physically anywhere, don't have to go into venues that are physical somewhere. They can go online, they can go and they can see their artists, they can interact with their artist, their favorite artists, and of course artists can use these platforms to gamify, just like she mentioned earlier, to gamify these experiences, to offer experiences, VIP experiences, to meet the artists, to interact with them, also to go in with friends. But this, of course, means technology needs to advance to a point where VR is able to provide all this. I think it's still in the works. It's in the making. We're not there yet.
Who's making it now?
So I think the big players right now who are working towards metaverse concerts are Fortnite. We know that they have tried it, they have done it before. We had concerts from 2019 onward from them. So Marshmello had a concert, it was 17 minutes, and he actually did it live. But afterwards, they decided to try something new, to try them more gamified, to pre-record them and to do these crazy, crazy cool concerts. Like Travis Scott had one. He was 20 foot tall. He was walking around everywhere, and all these avatars were these fans of his, flying around him and interacting with him and interacting with each other. And this is very, very cool if you think about it, because it's something completely different from anything that we're used to. But of course, there is a downside to it, because when you go to a concert, you want to interact with the audience, you want to feel the blood, sweat, and tears, you want to feel the vibes all around you. And this is something that so far nobody has been able to mimic in any way in virtual world situations. So I think that's going to be the biggest hurdle, I think, when this will be developed. But the future is bright.
Okay.
Just want to say to that point, I actually think that because we're getting so digitized and so virtually involved, and it might democratize, access to entertainment, music, and art, right? So way more people in the world will have access to it, digitally, virtually, which will mean that when you do get to go in person, then it's going to be so special, and it's going to be even more valuable and valued by everybody. And for me, from an artist standpoint, the fact that people will value more to see me in person than on a screen is very important. So it's not all that a downside, I don't think.
I was actually going to ask you, Violeta, so do you, because you are the most advanced, let's say here in terms of adopting technology, obviously that the reason we have this event is because you are using NFT and so on. So do you see yourself in this sort of scenario where the whole audience is avatars and, you know, kind of you don't get to actually see them close or?
I've done it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I've done it. That's the first time I got into Web3. Everyone's like, oh, go to Decentraland. It's another metaverse, like the Sandbox. Play a concert. It wasn't, I have to say, like, it's still very early, right? Because, like, not everyone can afford to have their own custom avatar made, right? And go into the world, the digital world. And sometimes you just go in and like use StreamYard, you know, or Zoom and project on a screen and you see all the avatars. But it was cool. Again, like my mom came in with her avatar, you know, and I could see her name, you know, in the audience and some other people in my community. I felt the warmth, you know, because people still commented in the chat and sent little heart emojis. And during a time where you can't go out, you know, and it's getting really hard, that is really valuable, you know. And then when they do get to see you in person, it's going to be very big. But it's so early. Like one day it will be an everyday thing. A really good friend of mine, and Johan is the guy who created the file standard GLTF, right? He is, you know, he pretty much created the metaverse back in the 90s, like 30 years ago. And still now he's like, oh my God, like we're early still. You know, it's going to take a long time, but it's going to get there.
okay, Theo and Dudu, do you see yourself in this movie, like far-fetched in the future, doing like?
Yes, of course. G that you are feeling, it's something that you cannot now you cannot copy. Um, this is once. What I'm curious is the when does art and the product come apart? So because at one time it has to be that the NFTs or no, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about an artist selling NFT or NFTs being sold. So yes, they are products, like you say. Are they all always art? Because they are products all the time. Are they 100% art? This is no for the artist, because if at once the NFTs that an artist are selling are becoming more product than the art, then they are only products.
So you're asking about the value of the artistic, let's say, content of the NFT product.
Yeah, I understand. I think, yeah, right now still at a stage where people get excited about buying an NFT, right? Whatever the art is, like we're seeing.
They don't care what the art is.
Yeah, definitely that happens. Like it's very, very common, especially people want to speculate, right? Trade, make money. So right now it's having this craze. And so, but the way I see NFTs, saying NFT is like saying JPEG, right? It's like saying MP3. We don't even think about it now, right? Like the product is not the MP3, but it's whatever song is on the MP3, right? Or so I think we'll get to that stage once it's less of a novelty, you know, once it's more adopted, once it's more used. Personally, I'm just using the technology to try and like connect with people and also like educate. So I'm really glad we're doing this as well on like the good effects of NFTs, like the fact that you and me can peer to peer send each other stuff, you know, and there's no one taking like a cut or blocking the road. It's just between us, you know, as it should be, because it's art. It should be between us, you know. So yeah, but good question.
Violetta, do you see a wave of musicians adopting NFT, or you see barriers there? What's the nature of these barriers? Is it kind of to be tech savvy or not to be a tech savvy person? I take it you're not, but you just sort of evolved into a person who understands what the NFT wrapper is for your content and how to productize it and show it to your audiences. So do you see a barrier to all other musicians to become so, let's say, savvy as you in terms of NFT and marketizing this?
Yeah, I mean, again, like, I guess I'm not tech savvy, but I became very passionate about the technology around it because to me I see it in a very philosophical way. Like I understand what it does for humans, so that's why I'm passionate about it. Not everyone cares so much about that aspect. So I do see a barrier now. Okay, absolutely, because the tools that we have at our disposal are not very user friendly. Okay, so you really have to be passionate. But one day, everyone will use it. Like, there is no doubt about it. I have no doubt in my mind that we'll be using NFTs and we don't even know, right? Like, we're using bank account and we don't even know, right? Or
MP3s or
MP3s or a card, bank card, I have no doubt in my mind. Right now, if there's, anyone in the here who would like to try it, don't be scared. If I did it, you can do it. Seriously.
Theo, why are you not using NFTs?
uh, he's very direct. We know each other for many years, so um, I would answer differently here. So I'm a big tech guy. I like VR. I like stuff like that. I also worked on a VR project some years ago with Saudi Arabia. So probably know Saudi Arabia opened itself for tourism, and at the company where I was, we were actually doing a VR project for the tourism part there, and you were going with your phone in the streets in Saudi Arabia, and actually the phone could tell you with this application, okay, what building is this, the history of it, and so on. Why I'm saying this? If I do a parallel with concerts, and Alexander, please don't get me wrong, I have a concert in China, for example, because I want to go to China. I want to feel the people in China. I want to understand their culture. I want to be there 100%. For me, being in a metaverse doing a concert, I don't feel that. So it doesn't give me the feeling which I need. But maybe it's my personal experience. I don't know. That's not why I'm not in NFTs. As I mentioned, I'm looking into it since 2 days now. I'm kidding now, but you never know what the future might bring. I'm fully with you that the things are changing a lot. That's clear. So we were looking. I mean, you said you're pre-mobile phones, right? I'm not really pre-mobile phone. Yeah, sorry. But yes, I remember. I mean, my first mobile phone was an Alcatel. You could break your head with that. So, and now I'm doing everything from this one. So of course the technology is here, and we have to embrace it, and we have to embrace the change. But I believe in art. Art is for me, art is connecting people. Art is being there and transmitting something. And if I'm in a virtual environment, I don't have the same feeling as I'm on the stage. And not just the stage. For me, art is not just, being on the stage and perform in front of people. It's also having workshops. It's also having discussions. It's also giving advice and so on. But this needs human interface for me. It's clear that the pandemic changed a lot. And we had to go online because if not, we would have, everybody was getting pretty crazy during the pandemic. You cannot travel, you stay indoor, and so on. And of course, this need, I think, triggered this, metaverse and all these crazy technologies what we have today. And this is definitely not a bad thing. I'm not against it. As I mentioned, I work in IT, but I believe we need to find a balance, and at least in art. But again, this is my opinion. I think the real value is the human touch. And I'm saying this not necessarily as an artist, but also as an IT guy.
But I have a question for you.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm your fan, but I don't know where in the world, and I don't have access to you
Love the question.
at all. I don't have access to you. I cannot come to your concerts. I cannot interact with you in any way whatsoever, right? So this virtual world would provide me the opportunity to meet you, to greet you, even if it's not face to face, even if it's not,
True.
from 10 meters away. But now, what internet did and what this did was that we all know artists from somewhere else in the universe, somewhere else in the world, and we follow them around and we want to know what they're doing. And this is the difference. You want to go to China, you want to feel China. That's amazing. But what about people from where you don't go?
Very good question. I have a partial answer for that. Uh, I will give a really cool answer. So we never played in Poland, for example. And we found out last year we were at a festival in Romania, and I have some Polish friends who were actually in a competition. It's a long story, but shortly said, they told me, hey, I have some guys here from Poland, and they told me, please leave us alone. We want to go to the Jazzy Beat concert. We want to see them. And I'm like, wow, we had no idea that we have fans in Poland. So question is what we do. We go to Poland. We called the Romanian Cultural Institute in Warsaw. We already did. And hopefully next year we will have some shows there. So, of course, if somebody's in Greenland, it would be, or in Hawaii, I would love to go there. But the idea is that we try to bring the music there. But again, I'm with you. For sure, we have followers on Facebook and Spotify and and Apple Music, and so of course we can get in touch with them during the through the, let's say, the digital platforms, and this is definitely great. I mean, we talked, we chat, we even do we record a lot of things at concerts, we publish them, and of course then the people can interact, and in a way it's towards this metaverse. But again, I really believe that the true feeling is when you're there. But I'm curious, guys and girls, what do you think?
I would like to say, like, at the end of the day, like, the metaverse doesn't have to be just a virtual world like a sandbox, right? Like, social media are metaverse. Like the fact that we text all day long on WhatsApp is metaverse. The fact that we're constantly connected, you get to see what your friends are doing when they live on the other side of the world. Well, if you really wanted to know how they are, you should go visit them, but you're not going to do it, you're just going to be content with following them on Instagram. So I think it's just kind of like keeping up with the times that are becoming so fast, right? So should entertainment, so should shopping, so should, it should just like keep up. Otherwise, we're always left behind. Artists are always like way back. So.
Um, I'm totally. I agree with what you all said because I'm a really tech fan, not a tech guy, but a tech fan. But we should see also what the pandemics did to us in a bad way. So to the city, for instance. So it killed the city. So the metaverse, if it evolves, it will evolve. This is clearly, but at what cost? You can see right now all the venues all around the world are struggling, are closing, and so on. So I think this will have social implications that we cannot see or foresee for now. But in some years, there will be some consequences out of this. So you have to see also the context. For instance, if you're going to a concert somewhere to see a live performance, you are feeding the economy of the city. Yes, you are using a cab going there. You are buying some shoes. I don't know, before you can go and eat something. So there is an economy linked to what you like a blockchain. So it's a processes linked flow in a flow, and then there is a result. The, the scope is to go to the concert, but you are doing all these steps before. This means that everything has it's an infrastructure. So it's an environment that you are creating. We have to to see how this metaverse is doing the same, but it has to do the same in context. This is what I'm trying to say, or to
Okay.
I'm now thinking of it.
So what I understand is that you think that the local, let's say, infrastructure basically wins from the fact that events happen sort of physically in one
Economy.
place.
Yeah, exactly.
And you are wondering if metaverse is not a killer for this sort of let's say city fabric that
Or
actually
yeah,
happen.
it is a killer to this, but okay, what's feeding else? Because it has to, so it has to kill something, but it has to also to build something. I'm trying to find out what is the balance exactly.
I think that we are thinking about it as in like one destroying the other in a way that I think we need to think about it as in coexisting with each other to
Not
bring you
destroy.
no, and in the sense of bringing an alternative. And at the moment, for example, in the metaverses and all the concerts that have been, which haven't been that many, usually the very, very high gross artists have had the opportunity to do them because they are incredibly costly. The infrastructure and the tech that it takes to bring these to life is immense. The work it takes is months and months of work of developers sweating and blood, sweat, and tears to bring this together. So it's not something easy that can be done and replicated every day, and an artist can do it like this,
Now.
and everything changes. No, but the future, like we're not gonna be here when that happens. I don't think. But the point is to bring an alternative, I think, to people that cannot partake in them. For example, people with disabilities that have a hard time getting into concerts and into festivals because there is not a lot of ramps or any they don't have all these set up, right? So an opportunity to go to a concert of your favorite artist in a metaverse would be at this point wonderful, right? And interact with them, or any sorts of other like scenarios like this. I don't think it needs
Yeah,
to,
this is what I'm also finding out about blockchain and NFTs like Theo for the last two days. So yeah, it's totally new for me. But I'm trying to create some scenarios. We are now heading into this will be a what the world you are describing is a very globalized world. So it is a globalized world. But the world actually in what we are living is going to be a very polarized world. There is a reason why she isn't playing in North Korea, because they are not allowing free artists to perform. This leads also to the fact that North Korea has no internet. Because so if this is going to be in China or in Russia, it's going to be exactly with the internet. So it's going to detach internet from them. So I think there will be some major setbacks or changes, not setbacks, changes in the way that we are seeing the world right now, with everything that we are living. So
Yeah, but that's happening anyway with all the media.
anyway,
And
anyway,
yeah,
anyway, anyway, yeah,
yeah.
anyway.
Okay.